Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this webinar on Velixo Excel reporting for Acumatica Cloud ERP. Before we get started here, we will be keeping the lines muted until the end of the presentation, and then we'll be more than happy to go ahead and open up the lines for any questions that you have. In the meantime, you could also type your questions. If you just take your cursor down to the bottom of the screen, a menu bar will pop up with a question and answer, and you can just type in your questions there. We'll go ahead and get started here. I'd like to introduce our presenter, Gabriel Michoad, who is the founder and developer of Velixo Reporting.
Thanks, Henry. Welcome, everyone. I would like to start with a big thank you to the entire team at NIMS and Associates for making this presentation possible. My name is Gabriel Michoad, and I am the founder of Velixo. I spent all my life working on ERP software and the last 10 years as part of the Acumatica ecosystem. I first got introduced to Acumatica in 2009 when my company signed up to be a reseller of Acumatica. I'm based in Montreal, so we were the first reseller of Acumatica in Canada. A few years later, I decided to sell my shares to my then business partner and join Acumatica, where I worked as part of the Acumatica product management team. In 2016, I decided to launch Velixo, this new venture, and build solutions that are specially designed for the Acumatica Cloud ERP. Today, Velixo has customers, partners, and employees worldwide, and I'm very excited to be with you today. Before I get started with the demonstration, I would like to show you a few slides to tell you the history behind Velixo and introduce you to the product. We will then be spending most of the time that we have scheduled together looking at the product and building real-life reports using Velixo. I will be happy to answer your questions at the end of the presentation, so feel free to use the Q&A box and we will get to your question as soon as possible. The story behind Velixo goes back many years ago. Very early in my career, I was working on a brand new ERP solution. And just like every other ERP product out there, we needed a good reporting solution. We kept adding more reports, more fields, more filters, more options to our solution, yet it felt like it was never enough. Our customers were asking for more, better tools, more powerful tools, and eventually we pretty much realized that our customers were expecting us to deliver something that looked a lot like Microsoft Excel. Flexible, powerful, yet very easy to use. So this is when someone on my team had this great idea. What if we took our ERP solution and brought it to Excel instead of trying to reinvent the wheel and recreate Microsoft Excel right inside our application? So this is where the idea of tightly integrating Excel with an ERP solution was born. Now, if you've been working with other products, other ERP solutions for the last 25 years, you might stop here and tell me, hey, Gabriel, I've seen a similar product before. And you would be right, because there's been many other attempts, similar solutions like F9, Jet Reports, Sage Intelligence, GL1, and countless products that were all built around that same idea. What you'll see today, however, is a brand new solution. It's something that we built from the ground up for Acumatica. And I would also like to add for Acumatica only. Velixo adds a new toolbar to Excel and a set of over 60 functions that are designed to work with your Acumatica GL, so everything around the financial module, projects, and finally, generate inquiries. Since our solution works with Acumatica and Acumatica only, we are able to leverage the unique capabilities of Acumatica and offer you the best possible integration with Acumatica. During my presentation, I will show you features like the Unified Security Model, Smart Refresh, Rideback, and Smart Drill Down that are all made possible thanks to our very strong commitment to Acumatica and the great integration that we've built for Acumatica users. Velixo is an Acumatica certified application. We are at this time the #1 solution on the Acumatica marketplace with more 5-star reviews than any other solution on the Acumatica marketplace. We've won multiple awards from Acumatica over the years. This is me and one of my team members, Mathieu, at the last Acumatica Summit. We won 4 different awards, including the Acumatica Innovation Award. By the way, Acumatica is also one of our customers. They have been using Velixo reports since day one for all their reporting needs. As you will see during my demo, the product is extremely simple to use. The installation takes just a few seconds, and then all you have to do is connect by using the same username and same password that you use to log into Acumatica every day, and then you are ready to start building your own spreadsheets. If you know Excel, you can do it. It's very simple, and I will demonstrate this entire process to you in just a few seconds. A picture is worth 1,000 words, and I promised I would only have a few slides. So before we get started with the demo, I would just like to finish with a very short customer testimonial, and then I will close PowerPoint and we'll start looking at Velixo. So that's a very short testimonial, and then we'll get started.
We got introduced to a partner called Velixo, who had just an incredible tool and a very simple to operate tool that provided real-time connectivity between Acumatica and Excel. I can now write functions. I can pull data balances out of Acumatica. I can see what my accounts receivable is. I can see what I spent on a particular expense account at the end of the month. I can do, I can tie those accounts together. I have even added an automation where I got complete, automated processes at the click of a button where I'm pulling information from 3 different systems, pulling it together, calculating and allocating that information, pushing up into Acumatica. It takes 30 seconds to do, where we used to take 5 hours to do these types of operations. Completely automated, completely, hands-off, accurate, no human error is getting introduced into this process. It's beautiful, would be the term that I would like to use in there. It is simply beautiful to have, and with the capabilities that we've been able to do. And that again is a combination of Acumatica, the capabilities of the open framework, and the tools like Velixo that adds that tight integration into Acumatica and into Excel, and recognizes that Excel is the heart of any accounting system, and it's your hammer. It is the core tool.
Okay, let's get started with the demonstration. So give me 1 second and I will start sharing my desktop. I hope that everyone is having a great day so far. I see that a few additional attendees joined in the last few minutes. Welcome everyone to this presentation of Velixo. I'll be happy to take your questions at the end of my presentation. Please use the Q&A box in Zoom if you want to ask me any question. So you should be seeing my Windows desktop right now. I have the Velixo installation package right here, front and center, and I will double click to start the installation on my computer. So this is the same package that you will have to install on your own machine to use Velixo. We support Excel 2010 or later. We also have a version of Velixo for Macs and Excel Online as well. The installation takes just a few seconds. It's already done. So it's something that you will be able to complete yourself and get started with Velixo extremely quickly. Once the installation is complete, Excel will start, and we're ready to create our first spreadsheet with Velixo. The first thing that you will notice when Excel opens is this new toolbar right here called Acumatica. So it's impossible to miss. From the Acumatica toolbar, you will have access to some of the key features in Velixo. We just started a new spreadsheet. So the first thing that we will do is to open the connection manager and add a connection to our Acumatica system. So it's very simple. I just enter my Acumatica URL. So in my case, it's demo.velixo.com. And finally, I enter my username and my password. The credentials that you're using to log in from Excel are the same credentials that you would use to log in to Acumatica from your web browser. By the way, if you have single sign-on setup, let's say you're using Active Directory or Office 365 to log in, this is also something that we support. So in my case, I simply use the username and password that I enter in the browser, and Excel will immediately give me access to all the features that I already have access to in Acumatica. So this is the first thing I'd like to point out about our integration with Acumatica. All the security and access rights that you set up in Acumatica will work transparently in Excel. First example would be branch and company access. So as a user, you may only have access to a subset of the branches or locations in your system. These restrictions can be set up in Acumatica and will transparently apply to spreadsheets that you run in Excel. You can even set up more advanced and more granular security with Acumatica. So there's something in Acumatica that you may or may not have heard of before called restriction groups, which basically allows you to define access restrictions for a specific GL account, a specific sub account, or a set of segments in your chart of accounts. So this is really powerful if you want to secure sensitive accounts or sensitive projects or branches. You set this up in Acumatica, and then people that use Excel will have all the right permissions and access rights. So I'm done, I'm connected, and I'm ready to start building my first report. By the way, it's also possible to add additional connections. So if I need to consolidate data from multiple tenants, I can also do so using Velixo. So let's close that window and start building our report. So for my first example, I would like to build something like that, a trial balance with 3 columns, code, name, and balance. I would also like to be able to filter on the ledger, on my branch, and also be able to select a financial period very easily. So I'm simply going to write down my ledger name and my financial period right here, and I will reference that in the report that I'm going to build. From the Acumatica toolbar, you will find a very convenient shortcut here called Insert Chart of Accounts. So it basically does what it says here. If you click Insert, you'll get the full list of GL accounts that are set up in your system. If you take a look more closely at cell A5, where I inserted my chart of accounts, you will notice that there's a special function that's been added to this cell. This is expand account range, and expand account range is one of the functions that we add with Excel. It gives you a dynamic list of GL accounts. So if you add new accounts and refresh this report, the system will give you an updated list of accounts. A custom function is also how we're going to retrieve the account name from Acumatica. So just like you would type any function in Excel, I will simply type equal account name, and Excel will show me the function. So account name returns the name of a GL account. It's pretty self-explanatory in this case. And Excel will tell me how to use the function as well. So I can see that I need to enter the account code. It's right here in A5. So let's do that and press enter, and then just copy this down. So now the only thing that's missing is my account balance right here. Again, we have a function that is designed for that. That will give you the current balance from Acumatica. This time, instead of typing the function name myself, so it would be account ending balance in this case, I will show you a way to see all the available functions that you will have access to using Velixo. This is probably the first question that people always ask me when I show them how Velixo works. They want to know if there's a quick and easy way to see all the available functions. So beside typing account in your formula, you can also use insert function right here. And in the insert function window, you'll see that everything that is related to Acumatica shows up in categories right here. So we have Acumatica project functions, list functions, GL functions, and also very important generic inquiry functions that I will show you a bit later. Let's take a look at GL functions. This is what I'm looking for in this case, account ending balance. So again, you see a description. This one calculates the ending balance. And then I can simply follow the instructions that I have on screen. All the functions that we provide are very simple to use. Velixo is a tool designed for any Excel user. If you have worked with Excel before, you already know how to use Velixo. basically. It's extremely simple. And once we're done with this report, I'm sure that you will be convinced by the power and the simplicity of this tool. To retrieve the balance, I need to specify the ledger. So Acumatica uses the concept of ledgers to store the transactions. You can have actual ledgers, you can have budget ledgers, and statistical ledgers. In my system, it's called actual. It's the default, so it's probably the same thing on your end, but just remember that you can use any ledger. Next, I'm going to select my account code, my branch here, and finally, the financial period. There's a few arguments that I left blank. For example, you can filter by sub-account. This is not required. It clearly says optional here. This allows you to filter on specific segments or specific sub-account values. At any point in time, you can click on Help right here or Help in the Acumatica toolbar if you want to get additional information on this function or on any feature that is available in Velixo. We have detailed documentation on the function. You will also find examples of how the function works as part of the spreadsheet. There's also a set of how-to guides and training videos that are available to every Velixo user. So if you go to the how-to section, you will see a set of professional training videos that are made available to every user. By the way, you can access this today, even if you're not already using Velixo. You can go to support.velixo.com to review the sample reports, tutorials, and videos that we make available to Acumatica users. Let's go here and click OK and simply copy this down. That's it. We just finished our first report using Velixo. That was simple, right? At this time, I can save my report, and anytime I want to get the latest data from Acumatica, I simply need to click refresh right here. And when I click refresh, Velixo will magically retrieve the latest data from Acumatica and recalculate your report. With Velixo, no more exports, no more manual data entry, no more complex functions. You just use the tools that we make available to you in the Acumatica toolbar and the functions that we add and that are specially designed to work with your Acumatica ERP. At this time, the report is also completely live and dynamic. Let me show you what I mean by that. I will go right here in C3 and change the financial period to December. As soon as I press enter, please don't close your eyes. You'll see that the data refreshes. The information that we need is already cached in memory, and we're able to almost instantly recalculate and refresh the spreadsheet. You can also very easily add an additional column. So maybe you want to compare actuals versus budget. You can do that very easily. Maybe you want to compare this year versus last year. I can do that as well. And finally, you might want to add a calculation. So maybe you want to look at the variance between both years. So let's add a calculation and maybe a few icons like that. So it's very easy. It's very simple to use all the features that you already know in Excel, along with the Acumatica features and the functions that we provide in Excel. Now that you understand the basics, I would like to switch to a different file that I will use for the second part of my demonstration. I'll just click File and open this report right here. So as usual, I need to enter my Acumatica password before I can get access to refresh this file. It's open now, so let's click refresh to get the latest data from Acumatica. While it's refreshing, and you'll see it's very quick, I'd like you to take a look at the design of the spreadsheet. It looks very nice, and it leverages many of the features that I'm sure you're already familiar with and using in your own Excel spreadsheet. We have conditional formatting set up here for the variance. I have my company logo right here. I've set up a branch filter here, so quick drop down that allows me to look at different business units or branches. I have data groups. So you can set up multiple levels that can be collapsed and expanded as needed. You can also set up multiple sheets within the same file. So if you want to have, let's say, 12-month P&L showing you the last 12 months of activities, you can do that. An income statement dashboard, a cash flow statement, trial balance, or any other type of budget or report, you can include all of that within a single file. And once again, when you click refresh here, everything in this file will refresh and you will get the latest data based on whatever is accessible based on your permissions in Acumatica. Beside the different functions that you have been looking at so far with the trial balance, we have additional tools in the Acumatica toolbar that are designed to make your life easier and to really push the integration between Excel and Acumatica to the next level. I would like to continue by showing you a feature that we call Smart Drill Down. And Smart Drill Down is truly my favorite feature of Velixo. If you're using Excel today, and I'm sure that you are, one of the challenges that you may have is reconciliation. Reconciling the data, the numbers that you see in Excel with your ERP system or whatever other solution that you have in place that is not directly linked to Excel. Thanks to Velixo, you can click on any cell in your spreadsheets. It can even be a total or a calculation, like this one here, and get the full list of accounts, sub-accounts, and ultimately the transactions behind the number that you see. Let's click on total expenses, and as an example, it drill down right here. And when you click drill down, Excel will analyze your formula and identify all the cells in your spreadsheet that contain Acumatica data. In the first column here, source cell, you will see where this is coming from. So you can easily identify where in the spreadsheet this information was found. For example, you can see that we have quite a few entries mapping to cell D20 in the P&L. So let's take a look at what we have in D20. This is salaries. And if I expand here, you will see that salaries is actually mapped to an Acumatica account class. You can also use the Acumatica account classes when building your reports. So this means that you can potentially have multiple GL accounts that are linked to a single cell. And this is exactly what you see in the drill down that we were looking at just a few seconds ago. We have 1, 2, 3 GL accounts that are listed here. Velixo will give you a summary by account, sub-account, and branch for all the accounts that are included, and you will see the summary balances right here. Then for any number or any line that you see, let's take this one here as an example. You can also click on View Transactions if you want to see the full transaction details for this line. So let's click on View Transactions. And this brings up Acumatica. So at this point, you are inside Acumatica and you have access to all the features of your favorite ERP system. We're looking at the transactions that were posted to the travel account. There's only one in this case, just for simplicity, but you could have hundreds or even thousands of transactions listed, which would allow you to reconcile the totals and verify that it matches what we have in Excel. From there, you can click on the reference number and see the original document and transaction directly from Acumatica. I just click on this document. Let's give it a second. And Acumatica will show us this is an employee expense claim for one night at the Hilton. You can see that the amount here and here matches what we have in Excel. But let's go one step further and open the file attachment that's been added. So this is the receipt for my night at the Hilton, 201.73, and back to Excel. This is exactly what we have here in the debit column. Thanks to Smart Drill Down and Velixo, it's very easy to go from any cell in your spreadsheet back to the original documents and transactions inside Acumatica. This is my favorite feature in Velixo, and it's available to everyone that has the Acumatica toolbar in Excel. Beyond drill down, we have additional tools and features that I will explain later. But before we continue with this, I would just like to highlight the additional functions and some of the key features that are also available in the functions and formulas that we provide. Besides financial reporting, we also have a set of functions designed to work with the Acumatica project module. So that covers the standard project accounting module and also the construction edition features of Acumatica. What I just opened here is a sample report. By the way, this is a sample that you can download online on the same website I showed you, support.velixo.com. And using the functions and tools provided by Velixo, we built this project dashboard and project portfolio report that shows you a list of all the projects currently assigned to John, one of our project managers. All the values that you see here, like the budget revenue, actual expenses, and hours, are all retrieved by using functions that we add to Excel. So right here, we have project ending quantity. This is the same concept as what you saw earlier with the GL functions for financial account balances. This time, instead of working with account codes, you work with projects, tasks, account groups, and cost codes. So thanks to the function that we add, you can easily build a report like that, detailed project snapshots, WIP reports, and many additional reports. I would also like to show you the generic inquiry function. So this is very important because this enables reporting on basically any entity, any screen, or any table in Acumatica. Just in case you're not fully familiar with generic inquiries, what you're looking at right now is a generic inquiry in Acumatica. So the grids and lists that you see whenever you open a page in Acumatica are actually generic inquiries behind the scenes. The reason Acumatica calls that generic is because it can be applied to any module, any scenario, any field, or any area of your ERP system. Inside any list, you can filter by a column, you can show or hide additional columns, you can search data very easily, so by using the search box. This is everywhere in Acumatica, and it's a very powerful tool. But what you'll be happy to know as well is that you can take these inquiries. Maybe it's one of the standard inquiries included in Acumatica. I think there's over 100, or one of the custom inquiries that you have. These inquiries may have been set up by the team at NIMS and Associates, or it may be something that you have configured internally. Let's say I want to use this inquiry here, AR invoices and memos, to get a list of all my open invoices in Excel. I can do that very easily by using equal GI and then the GI name. So let's do that and press enter. And what you'll see is the full set of invoices and memos that were displayed in Acumatica earlier. You can refine and filter this data. Let's change that to only have a few columns: type, reference number, customer, and amount. And now let's add an additional filter here by customer code. I can filter this by using a special tool that we make available. It's something that we call GI filter. This is basically available to help you write these filters without being a programmer. So it's just a list of the fields that you want to filter, in this case, the customer and the values. As soon as you press enter, now you have just the documents that are linked to this client here. Let's change to another customer and press enter. And boom, it refreshes instantly. Thanks to the support of generic inquiries, you're able to build reports that access AR, AP, inventory, manufacturing data, and do things like reconcile your financials with AR, with AP, include detailed transaction lists in your financial reporting packages, and much more. This is a feature that we added to Velixo earlier this year, a part of Velixo 5. As a Velixo customer, you will have access to all the updates that we release, all the new features that we make available to clients. If you take a look at our website at velixo.com, you'll see that we have many case studies and blog posts that cover the new features in Velixo. Version 5 is what we released earlier this year in June, and what I want to show you is this nice little window right here. So whenever we make a new version of Velixo available to our customers, you will see this window. Just click update and you will be good to go. This process takes just a few seconds and help ensure that you have the latest version with the latest features. We always try to leverage what's new in Excel, what's new in Acumatica, and to ensure that your solution remains compatible and fully supported. I'd like to finish with the last two remaining sections in the Acumatica toolbar. Report distribution is what you see right here. Report distribution helps you automate the process of running, refreshing, exporting, and emailing your reports. So if I go back to my P&L here, just to give you a bit more context, we have a branch filter here that allows us to look at different branches. So whenever I switch to a different branch, you see that this data updates right here. So let's say that weekly or monthly, you need to take this report, take all the sheets or maybe just some of the sheets and create reports. If you have like just 2 branches, that might be simple. You can do it manually, but we have customers with 10, 50, and in one case, over 500 branches, and they have reports like that that they need to distribute. So as you can imagine, this can quickly turn into a nightmare, something that is very time consuming. But thanks to Velixo, you can turn this into a one-click process. This is a very simple feature to understand as well. So this is just a list of all the reports that you want. File format, you can send in PDF, Excel, file name, what you want included, where you want to save that. Right here, it's my local computer, but it could be SharePoint, Dropbox. You can email as well at the same time if you want. And lastly, and more importantly, you can apply filters. So we're going to change the branch name because we want to run the same report across different business units and branches. You set this up once, you click distribute all, and then you're good to go. So that takes, like 15 seconds, 30 seconds in this example, because I only have a handful of reports, but I'm sure you can quickly see how much time this tool can save you. Report distribution and absolutely everything that I'm showing you today is available and included in Velixo. And best of all, Velixo is available to every user inside your organization. We have a licensing model that is very close to the Acumatica licensing model. So it's unlimited users licensing. Once you have a license for your organization, everyone can install Velixo, leverage the great reporting features, and the additional tools that I'm showing you right now. So that's automated report distribution. And once again, it helps you automate the process of running, refreshing, exporting, and emailing multiple reports all in a single click. By the way, if you want to schedule that, it's also possible. We have an article on the support center that will show you how to do this. Report Rideback is what I would like to wrap up with. Rideback is what you will use if you want to update Acumatica data from Excel. I will explain a few scenarios in just a bit, but you'll see that this goes hand in hand with the reporting functions that we provide. If I go back to the P&L that we were looking at earlier, you've probably noticed that we also have the budget right here. So Velixo makes it easy to access your actuals, your budgets, any statistical ledger as well. So if you have non-financial data that you track in Acumatica, you can retrieve that very easily by using the Velixo functions. But now with Rideback, it's actually possible to update this information very easily. So let's start with the budget as an example. It's 2021, so it's right around the corner. Maybe you want to build your budget for the new year. So I will create a new budget forecast sheet. And Velixo will give me this blank sheet. Right, actually I used the wrong one. Let's use budget forecast instead. Yep, this is it. So I can build my project budget here, update any ledger, and then list all my budgets for the different GL accounts and sub accounts that I want to budget. If you are familiar with the Acumatica budgeting process, this layout probably looks very familiar to you. The screen is designed to look and feel a lot like the Acumatica budget entry screen. So let me just open that for you. Right here, yes. So this is the Acumatica budget for 2021. Account, sub-account, and then one column for all your financial period. Now, again, Excel, it's very, very similar in terms of layout. But what I want you to understand is that within Excel, you can add your own formulas, your own columns, and your own calculations. So let's say you want to build your budget by looking at the actuals from 2020. Well, you could just add a column here and then use the function we looked at earlier, account ending balance, to get this information. In the interest of time, I'm not going to build a budget from scratch, but rather I will open this example here. It is exactly what I was describing earlier. I have a few revenue and expense accounts, and the two important columns are the ones you see here, prior year actuals and forecast. So this is showing you the actual totals that are retrieved from Acumatica. And then I simply decided to build my budget by applying a simple plus or minus increase in percentage to it. So let's just type 6%, 3%, 2%, and so on. So here in the different columns that I have, I'm simply taking the budget total and spreading it evenly across all 12 periods. So I'm by no means a budgeting expert, could probably argue that this is highly simplistic, but the point I want to make here is that you can use any Excel formula. You can access data in Acumatica. You can reference data in additional spreadsheets. You could even access external systems. So let's say you want to build a budget by looking at your HR system, headcount, and the actual payroll cost. Well, you could link to the system and build the budget by using this data. This is Excel. It works just like Excel, and you have access to absolutely every feature in Excel that you're already using in your spreadsheet. This will work very well with the Acumatica integration and the functions that we add. Once your budget is done, just click import right here. This takes just a few seconds, and the new budget will be pushed to Acumatica. Very important to mention once again that you need to be logged into Acumatica to use this feature. I'm an administrator. I have access to all the features, every area, but a user that does not have the ability to update a budget in Acumatica would not be able to do it from Excel. So again, this is completely driven by the Acumatica security model, and the permissions need to allow you to update budgets before you can use this feature. That's for budget Rideback. We have also something called GL Rideback that you can use for journal transactions. This is something that we added based on customer request and feedback. Again, we're very proactive when it comes to customer suggestions. Just take a look at some of the case studies and feedback that we have on acumatica.com, and you'll see that every single customer mentions how responsive we are to customer requests and feedback. So what we discovered after working with the first 50 customers or so is that many were using Velixo to build allocation spreadsheet, to do revenue recognition, expense recognition, and they were basically building transactions that someone was manually entering in Acumatica. So we just took that logic one step further and added journal transactions. So now you can do your own allocations, accruals right from Excel without even leaving the familiar spreadsheet. I would just like to create a very simple transaction for you, just $1 in and out between two sub accounts, and push that to Acumatica. It's quite simple. Just give it a second. The system always validates the entry. If there's any error, you will know. Otherwise, you just get the preview. So it's very convenient if you have to do a payroll import, if you need to enter an income tax provision, liability insurance provision, or anything that requires a calculation from Excel. For sure, you could use the upload feature in Excel, but this is in Acumatica, but this is way more convenient because it happens right from your spreadsheet and where you have your existing data model and calculation. So that's for Rideback. We have an additional Rideback module for project forecasting. I'm not going to look at that today. Just want to remind you once again that Rideback, distribution, drill down, and all the features and functions that we looked at today are all included inside Velixo. I hope that you found my presentation entertaining, useful. I'm very passionate about Acumatica, so feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn, follow us on YouTube. I'm always happy to answer questions around Excel, Velixo, or Acumatica in general. You will also find me on the Acumatica community at community.acumatica.com. I'm very active and always looking to help other Acumatica users. So once again, I would like to thank you. Velixo is truly a must-have for any Acumatica user. We have over 350 companies worldwide using this tool. It's by far the most popular add-on in the Acumatica ecosystem. And I hope to count you in as another satisfied and happy user of Velixo very soon. If you would like to get more information, or if you're interested in a trial license of Velixo, make sure to reach out to NIMS and Associates. They can help you get started. We can set up a trial license very quickly. As you saw, it takes just a few minutes to get started, literally 30 seconds. So it's a good way to try out Velixo and figure out if this is a good fit for you. By the way, if you have existing spreadsheets that you've built over the years, you can add Velixo to it. You don't need to start from scratch. So it's a good way to slowly migrate and leverage from Velixo. Just add a connection, use the function where appropriate. You'll get this live data, easy one-click refresh inside your existing spreadsheets. So with that said, thanks everyone once again.
Thanks so much.
Thanks everyone.
Thanks, Gabriel. Much appreciated.